Friends, today's NRI Samay program from Los Angeles brought to you commercial free by listeners like you. Your generous donations make possible for us to stay commercial free, and today's show is pre-recorded. If you have a question for the guest, please send an email to nrisamay@gmail.com. We will follow up with the guest and find the answer for you. Thank you for your support.
Friends, welcome to NRI Samay. This is Srihari, your host for today's show. We have with us Janetha Reddy Garu. She has been on NRI Samay before, and today we are back. She's back with us to explain about various things that are happening around H1s, and a lot of Indians are worried about things that are going on in the new administration. Janetha Garu, welcome to NRI Samay.
Thank you, Srihari Garu.
Ma'am, as you know, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of people are worried, both people here in US and also in India, because a lot of us are immigrants. We came here on different visas. Even people who are on green card also are a little bit worried. Given that there are a lot of things that are changing, and given that we are learning new things every day, but what do we know so far? And for our listeners, before we start, obviously this is not an advice, because this is a radio show. You should not take it as an advice that that might, your situation might be different, but this is more of a general knowledge, and we'll have to consult your lawyer before making decisions.
Thank you, Srihari Garu, for making that disclaimer on behalf of us. NRI Samay listeners, thank you and welcome. Just to brief you a little bit on, as everybody knows that Mr. President Trump signed the executive order, and there are a lot of things in the executive order, but especially which is going on in the media and around, and then having all the protesters, especially the travel ban. So and the from the government side, they are coming up and saying that it's not a ban, it's not any religious ban or something Muslim ban. It's just a temporary pause. That's what Department of Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly said. It's a temporary pause. And if you look into the things that are happening past week, so the situation is not as fluid as the first day and the second day. Every day we are learning new things, and we are seeing other things as the story is unfolding, and then how the states are being issued, how the executive order is being challenged in the court, and how it's a realization of how the Constitution works, and then how the checks and balances should be there in place for every government, and how they work, and then not for one branch to overreach on the another one. So saying that, as a lot of viewers, listeners know that as per the executive order, the thing that stirred up was a travel ban, especially related to those 7 countries, which are Syria, Iraq, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. And there are been other things floating around, the rumors saying that it's a ban on, people are being stopped at the port of entry beside these countries as well. We heard that, yes, these 7 country, nationals, the residents are, coming into the country on whatever the status that they already have, or the visa stamping in the passport. So, they are being rejected or denied, and then sent back, and then somebody was really stopped to board the plane because they want to avoid all these chaos inside the country. So, there are several courts, that this rule is being challenged, and especially as per the new development for yesterday's evening, the Washington State federal court ruled that he issued a TRO, temporary restraining order, to halt this ban. So, which technically means that the next step is going to be an appeal from the government side. As per the press news just now, they were saying that the Department of Justice did an appeal, filed an appeal in the Ninth Circuit, because that's where the jurisdiction lies as per the TRO. And then they want to have this emergency stay on the ruling. And, we might see the other things unfolding, probably after over the weekend or maybe Monday, Tuesday. So, and saying that, one thing I would like to, you would like to go ahead, Sriharigot, saying something?
Yeah. So there is no, as far as Indians are concerned, whatever we know so far, there is no restriction as such, right now?
Yes, that is correct. That's where I'm heading next.
Okay.
The rumor has been in place, and then, people are, there's the right opportunity for some people to just grab it on and then, scare others. But as per my personal acknowledgement, we have some of our clients travel safely on H-1Bs and on visitor visas and on green cards into the country after this executive order has been signed. So my say to the listeners is, don't panic, especially as this doesn't apply to, Indian nationals. But again, saying that, rest of the procedures that were already there, in place as per, before issuing this executive order, the CBP will definitely follow those standard policies and procedures which are already in place before the executive order. So, as per the judge's halt, ruling, CBP was informed, saying that they have to go back to the standard policies and the procedures that they were doing before in screening these. The people who are entering into the country, and then follow those regular procedures, not to have the executive order effect on those lines. But as we are witnessing, some of our clients, entered, as I just stated, on different kinds of statuses into the country. So at this point of time, I would say, it's not affecting Indian nationals especially. So, but the procedures that are already in place, where they regularly go and held the person to a reasonable standard, yes, that will definitely be there.
Okay. And talking about the rumors, I also heard that there's a rumor that, some of the officers are, on the streets or at the malls, and, they are asking for paperwork and stuff like that. That sounds like a rumor, purely rumor. Because
yeah, that's what I would say at this point of time, because, if listeners remember, whether, I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago, Arizona State tried to have their own, immigration rules, stating that the officers can, stop and ask for the immigration status. As immigration is a federal law, it's supreme. And then, states can make laws which are complying within the federal guidelines, but they cannot create anything new which directly conflicts with the federal law. So I think that's what happened in Arizona. I don't remember exactly how many years ago, but when saying that people are getting panicked whether officers are coming to grocery stores and all these places to check your immigration status. As per my knowledge goes, an officer should have a reasonable doubt to stop a person and then, ask for any information. I'll give you an example. If a person is, driving and then, he jumps a red light, and then if the officer is there, that is a reasonable doubt because the officer witnessed him jumping the red light. He has every authority now to stop this guy and ask, the driver's license and, etc., and the immigration status as well at that point of time. But without any reasonable doubt, one cannot stop the person and just ask, what is your immigration status? It's a violation of the law. So, I would definitely say to the viewers that might be, a rumor as well.
Okay. So as far as travel is concerned, people with proper paperwork, there is nothing that we know as a big concern as far as Indians are concerned.
That's correct. That's very true, because that any H-1B visa holders or visitor visa, F1 or the green card, anybody can come into, as long as the paperwork is the right one, and then they present themselves at the port of entry, and they pass through the questions whatever the officer poses, and then present themselves in an orderly manner. That should go good. And I just, before having our call, I spoke with one of my clients, who traveled to India on an emergency situation, where his father passed away. And then I just checked with him whether he is safe inside the country. He is a green card holder. So, he said, asked the regular questions, nothing special. So, I witnessed the same thing he said, and then he is inside the country. So, at this point of time, not to panic, but again, make sure that you are carrying those proper documentation and present yourself to the officer. And then the officer should be convinced, it's not that, if you have a visa, you should be, allowed into the country. You will just go through the same scrutiny where the standard policies and procedures that are in place, the CBP, will go through.
Friends, NRI Samay is a non-profit independent alternate media from Los Angeles, USA, which brings positive stories from grassroots activists from all corners of India and across the world. NRI Samay does not rely on corporate funding, and our shows are commercial free. We only rely on your donations. Corporate funded media is driven by the TRP rating, and profits are blurring the distinction between news and entertainment. Why do our news channels talk so much about cricket, movies, accidents, popular figures' personal lives, babies of heroines, gossips, etc., while they should be covering the struggles of people, inequality in our society, rural issues, and border security issues? Why did our media raise some corruption crusaders to the sky on one day and shut them off completely when graft charges were raised on those corporate sponsors? Media relies so much on the corporate funding and government blessings that they cannot report independently. NRI Samay is different. We don't accept funds from any corporations, and hence our shows are commercial free. We completely rely on donations from you. Please consider donating to NRI Samay, and please go to nrisamay.com and donate generously. This is the only way together that we can continue NRI Samay. All donations are kept transparent on nrisamay.com. And if you have any questions, please write to nrisamay@gmail.com.
Okay. And the green card holders, Indians who are holding green cards, the permanent residency, should they, there are some questions about should we apply for citizenship sooner than later, just because of, the uncertainty?
I would say if they are qualified, and then, if they have that kind of intention to become a United States citizen, yes, why not? But I would say, no, nothing to worry about. As per, there are several things that are stirring up right now, but again, as per the Constitution, and I don't think so, we would see any kind of, rules that come out, blocking all these things.
Yeah. And the other concerning part a lot of people are really worried about is minimum salary requirement for H-1Bs, which is they're saying 130K. A lot of people don't make that much, people who are on H-1B. What do we know about that? I think this is something that was put in by Joe Lofgren, not even Donald Trump. So what do we know about that?
Yeah, there are a lot of immigration bills that are pending on the Senate floor on and off. I would say more than 40, 50, over the time frame. But having that kind of approval on these bills uh, is the thing that we have to worry about. So as of now, we know I would just say it's too early to jump on this and make a judgment on that. But for now, I would say not to worry about, and if it is coming through, everybody will know ahead of time because it has to go through the process.
I see. So you think we'll have at least a couple of months of time to an advance notice?
Yes, I would say so, definitely.
Okay. And there is also chat about student OPT, whether the current term will stay or it will be reduced to like 6 months. Do we have any news around that or any sense of what's going to happen?
Yeah, especially when we are receiving a lot of calls in our law office day in, day out on the STEM extensions on the student side, the OPT STEM extensions. I would say right now with the executive order, it's not possible to knock it down. Maybe if they have that kind of intention to bring down whatever the time frame that they want to, it has to go through the regulatory process as well, the rule-making process. So, everybody will know ahead of time if it is going to be a rule. So,
I see. And then I think the same bill also talks about the percentage of H1s versus the non-visa citizens or green card holders. What do we know about that part?
Yeah, those lines, I would say all these are pretty much, going around and not any particular action taken. So I would not really worry from, if I'm, a common person, I would not really worry about all these things at this point of time, unless and until, there is a bill put up forward and, in the Senate, on the Senate floor and then passed by, the majority. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of these things happen all the time, but just that I think people are just worried about new administration and how they would react.
That's true. As the president signed the executive order, that stirred up a lot of things, which came out of the pot, and making the headlines on these things.
As far as next steps, what are you looking forward to with all these changes? Are there any big milestone you are expecting, or any movements even in green cards and people green card applications and so forth?
As of now, nothing, and no indication on those lines as well. When coming to the H1B filings, no different set of regulations have been provided, so it's going to go smoothly. And then, as you said, the dates becoming current and stuff like that. So no signs on those lines as well, because as more people are coming in, and then more qualified persons are there. EB3, EB2, and EB1. A lot of people now, who are eligible for EB2, they are being porting from EB3 to 2, and then and a lot of people are eligible for EB1. So there are different categories in that one as well. So but people are trying to find out ways where their resume best fits and the position kind of available with the employer and stuff like that. And then because of all of these things, I think at times they lose the track of how many numbers they have. But I don't see any indication coming out and then becoming current anytime sooner. But if that is the case, hopefully we should know, unlike the 2007 scenario.
Yeah. I think this is very assuring. The other part is the H4 work permits for H4 dependents.
Yes,
Updates, right?
Yeah, that falls on the same lines as the STEM OPT. As if anything has to be, if they are repealing that, so it has to go through the same rule making process, and then everybody will know ahead of time. But right now I don't think so. That is happening because there is as per the executive order, nationally, all focus is on the how the 7-country people are being banned out and then singled out. Maybe that is a main talk, and then that is a situation where everybody is giving the paying their attention to. But as when we look into the government side, they are looking into the national interest perspective. Of course, they should. Yeah. But again, given all these things, looks like they are going forward with the appeal as per the latest news. So we have to stay tuned and see how it goes. How the courts rule, and then maybe the chances are there the case might even go up to the Supreme Court. So it all depends upon how appeal will be. The judgment in the appeal will come out.
And also, it's a election promise. I think that's one of the things that made them to go so quickly. But it also gets a feeling that whatever changes that are going to happen, they may not happen. So like all of a sudden on your face kind of thing. I think they'll take the due process, and then because of the backlash, even Paul Ryan, he was saying they kind of messed up how they rolled out these travel bans.
Yeah, I think as per the experts, they are saying they said that this executive order was not wrote well in a way that the promise should be kept out, and any executive order, anything, it should be a constitutional one. It should comply the Constitution. So I think that's what most of the time, everybody will be focusing on now, whether it is a constitutional or unconstitutional, and then, again, those rights, and at the same time, how one branch is overreaching the other one, so how the checks and balances will work, all these things are, coming into the picture because of the executive order. So, we just have to, stay tuned and have those updates.
Yeah. And as far as Indians who are in India right now, who has an opportunity to get an H1 or even a F1 to come to US, should they be watching out, just slow down, or they just follow the normal process at this point?
I would say at this point of time, as per judge's order yesterday, they said that again the standard policies and procedures will place, and even Department of State confirmed to AILA, American Immigration Lawyers Association, that assuming that there were no other issues in cases, provisionally revoked, and they were trying to validate them again, and then the Department of State said that they are going to issue visas. I think even the appointment bookings have been happening, and people are going. So let's say if a resource is needed, and then if he is delaying, then he might lose a job. I would say when putting all these things, and then weighing in, which one he should go, I would definitely, if it is me, I would say I'll go for stamping and, present myself to the officer that, I'm a resource and, I am needed at this end client, present yourself and then, convince the officer and then, get things done. As long as, the documents are in place for the visa that you are requesting in front of the officer, yes, definitely you should, have that once the requirements are being met.
Yeah. Okay, that's very reassuring actually. That I personally feel better of the talk list. Anything else, ma'am, that you would like to add?
I would say, even the executive order said, it's only a temporary ban of 90 days. So, nothing permanent except those refugees coming from, a certain country. So I would say, not to panic, especially to, Indian nationals at this point of time. And, don't believe in rumors. If there is a rumor out, please go ahead and reach out to your employer or, your corporation attorney to make sure that things are in place, and then, go ahead and make very informed decisions, because, don't rely on, a friend's advice. Of course, friends give advices for, your betterment, but at the same time, you just have to check whether that is coming out legally. It should not hurt you. So I would say, check with your corporation attorneys, your corporate immigration attorneys, and then make sure that things are in place, and then, allow them to, give you that kind of advice, and then, travel. People are traveling, without travel, a lot of, at least as per the CBP, they say that, at least 900 to a million people travel every day into the country. So that is a requirement. But again, as long as complying with the rules, make sure that you are making a very informed decisions before doing anything or making any, a decision.
Excellent. Thank you, Janetha.
Thank you, Sri Harigaru, and thank you, NRI Samay, for having me.
All right, bye.
Friends, if you liked today's show, please go to youtube.com/NRI Samay and click on the subscribe button. You will get notified every time we publish a new show. And you can also like us on our social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, and Google+.